about Tamarack City. There's material in your packet from, Kelly Westfall on behalf of the Sewage Authority. Supervisor's report, there are a number of items later on in the agenda that I would normally, part of my report. Let me just highlight a couple of things, if I may. One we've already addressed is Dollar Bay cleanup, and we'll continue to explore options there. I've already mentioned the assessor's office hours. We are compiling a wish list in the office. Some of the items already mentioned this evening are on that list, such as a better security fence around the water tank. There was talk back in late March about a forthcoming federal infrastructure bill. There is now an update to that. The House of Representatives will be taking up a $3 trillion federal package that may or may not include infrastructure as early as tomorrow in Washington, according to this afternoon. I know that the administration has been pressing for a standalone or a priority infrastructure bill, part of the package of relief bills to assist during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think there's still a reason to compile a list of desired projects, talk with engineering firms when applicable and appropriate, and move forward. A complicating factor on some of the work to be done in the township is the pending state budget and the problems that could exist there relative to revenue townships. So I'll touch on that a little bit later. Another item, one last one, and that is the status of the parks. The parks are being utilized. Dale has been out putting garbage bags in cans, cleanup, etc. But it's been discussed in the office that perhaps a formal notice needs to go up in each of our parks, not to close them, but as an informational item slash update on status that, in essence, these parks are not cleaned or sanitized by township personnel. Consequently, people that are using them at their own risk, and that we would recommend following guidelines relative to as part of a notice. And Chris has been working on language. I know there's a draft available now, and we're looking to finalize that and whatever. There are some sidebar issues to that. They pertain to sandy bottoms. I was asked, when do we put the buoys out? Probably around the Memorial Day weekend, and then it came to my attention that, and I don't have a cost to that.
Really?
The rope is pretty well shot.
I thought that we just bought that like 2 years ago.
I don't know, I remember.
Yeah, my understanding is in pretty rough shape. Ron's confirming what I heard.
Well, that sucks. I mean, I'm telling you, we literally just bought new ones, so if that rope is gone already, I think we did that with some kind of little grant or something even.
No, we didn't, I remember doing it.
Well, I know we did it.
Yep.
That's the extent of my report. I'll be amplifying some other items.
Is that something that rope thing, is that something that Dale can do, or do we have to buy a whole new string?
Looking into getting costs, I'll start the discussion. Probably see.
I know that I've driven past that park several times in the last few weeks here, and there's probably 5 to 10 cars there regularly when I've gone by. So it is getting used for sure.
Yeah, well, Tamarack is too. There's 12 kids down there picking up basketball last night.
I've seen a bunch of kids here at our basketball hoops that I haven't seen lately too, because they can't use it.
A lot of them are coming down from Moulton because their parks are closed.
Yeah,
So,
my boy was up at Moulton, got kicked out by the police a couple days ago. So
there's a lot of kids we don't recognize, but at least it's being used.
Same with parks. Does it make sense to proceed with what we're doing?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with the language. It sounds fair enough. I don't know. Yeah. Just want to post one on the ice rink door down there, and, or on the ice rink building, and post one over by the bathroom building at the Sandy Bottoms. And
we've got a board right at the entryway to the parking.
There's one there.
Yeah.
They should open on it.
We should be able to find a place to put most places.
Try to get that addressed before the end of next week.
Fair enough.
That's all I have for an oral report. Questions? If none, next item is update on the community garden grant. Krista?
So I just found out last week that we were awarded a $5,000 grant from Portage Health Foundation for our community garden. So we had to, in order to get that, we had to submit a new timeline. Obviously with all the COVID stuff going on, we couldn't just jump in and do it like we had originally proposed in the original grant, but we did do a new timeline and think that it's gonna be probably good enough that we can have people in there distancing and getting things done so that it will be prepared for growing season.
Wonderful,
Yeah, pretty excited.
very nice.
There's a document that needs signature.
Correct, yeah.
Do we have to
The grant
approve that?
payment is with you, and, I need to mail that back to them before, Tuesday.
Do we need to pass a motion accepting the grant?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either.
Pardon?
I don't think so either.
No, I didn't think
That's why I
so, right? Why I asked.
Yeah.
Take care of that, huh?
Very, very nice work, Krista.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Water connection,
Yes, actually, I would.
a water connection, $2,500, but you gotta put a 15-year.
Correct.
So that's another 20.
Yep. And I was gonna ask if you can just get that ordered. We approved it out of last year's fiscal year budget for the community garden, so, yeah, we got that approved already, so we just, that ordered.
All set?
Yep.
Thank you. Congratulations. Any other questions? Unfinished business. FY 2021 budget status, including salary resolution. Been referenced or alluded to a couple of times already this evening. I'm going to make a suggestion in lieu of what's taking place referenced earlier, and that would be to not remove it from the table. More about no more by the end of this month as to what's going to happen with regards to revenue sharing statewide and its impact specifically on Osceola Township.
It sounds like we might get more information also Tuesday, this Wednesday after Memorial Day. It sounds like we'll have a little bit of a more clear picture, but you're talking 50% now. Where originally it was 20% of state revenue sharing, that we're gonna get slashed by 50%. For 1 to 2 payments, they don't know, obviously they can't
So,
project beyond
just,
that, but
those are monthly payments, right?
no, they're quarterly.
Quarterly payments,
Yeah.
so 2 quarterly payments.
Mhm.
So that could, I
That's
mean, that's a significant
for us.
part of our budget. I'm not sure how we continue
Right.
at that point.
Right.
Shut the offices down,
That's a ton of money.
What are 3 days a week?
turn the lights off for half the year. Street lights.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's significant.
I don't know how you,
That's why we need to see what the figures.
we don't have a budget that's capable of being slashed by 50% for half the year. I don't think they don't understand how some of these small municipalities work. They don't get it. So there's no fluff there.
Well, this is why phone calls will be made to elected officials at the state level as soon as we've got a clear picture. And if I'm reading.
We'll just tell them that we're not gonna collect taxes during any of that time frame, then we're gonna shut the doors, and we'll see what they say.
MTA is also working
Yeah.
on the township's behalf with,
Yeah.
with the government to try to.
Krista's right, if you'd like to see this, I just printed this, yesterday, webinar on the Department of Treasury's government.
And I think the Township Association is gonna have to play some real hardball here.
They are.
I suspect that they're gonna be way steep half of the. Right now, we are facing an unknown revenue sharing, so my suggestion is to leave it tabled until we know more, and then be presenting budgets based on what figures we receive for the June meeting.
Interesting to see what that comes out of that, you know.
Under unfinished business, item B was sewer project bid notice. We addressed all of the.
I don't think we need that anymore.
Don't need that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Item C, which is Travis Engineering bid, and
Done.
for the storm drain, that was past that now based on County Road Commission, FEMA project bid status, that was tabled. Do I have a motion to take it off the table?
Hey, what are we doing with that?
No, it's just an update from me. I just talked to Kevin Hardy today.
I'll make a motion, take it off the table.
Is there support for the motion?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. County Road Commission FEMA projects on the table. I talked, for several minutes with Kevin Hardy, this morning. They are addressing issues first in Hubble, haven't marked anything yet in, Osceola Township, particularly in Tamarack City, where much of the work will be done, but in the Dollar Bay area and Woodside as part of this project. He or his assistant will be getting in touch with the township to see where they will be working and what local projects dovetail into their effort, utilizing local funds to get hopefully a very good price on good or necessary in the township while they have equipment working on site for the FEMA project. But so we talked for several minutes.
We don't have anything left in the dollar rate, right?
Not as much as we would like under the circumstances, but it's committed to good projects. Out there.
Yeah, so the only ones you'd be able to look at really would be over the Tamarack side over there probably.
Yeah, you could-
Pave the hill, pave it. Time to just do golf course or get it off the list. Pave that sucker.
Wait a minute. Golf course road, is that in Osceola Township?
Oh, yeah.
All of it?
Oh, just the
No,
part, that hill
it's
part right
part of
there.
I'm in favor of that idea.
I'm not.
Only to the Calumet Township line.
I don't know where the Calumet Township line is. How far up that
Cuts
hill?
across there.
Is it on the tier
I
or
think
is it?
the thing kind of goes at an angle, the line there.
Mhm.
We got a part of the thing that goes up the falls, kind of cuts through.
Yeah.
And then it ends up at a golf course, which is part of ours.
Yeah, we have the golf course is actually in Osceola Township, is it not? Yeah.
A lot of those along that aren't, it kind of does one of these wackies.
Yeah.
It's weird.
We're not a straight line township.
We are not.
Jog around a lot.
It's weird, we almost have two separate areas, because it shrinks down and then there's another bulb up there at the top. Okay,
I'll do my best to have more information.
We'll read the whole town before we do that.
there's lots of stuff, we can use all the money that we have in the North Group. If he's got a road up there, have at her, use that stuff.
It's listed as item F, in reality it's item E, but that's the township attorney, it was tabled at the last meeting.
Yeah, I didn't wanna do that without you here.
Is there a motion to remove it from the
Move.
table? Mr. Jenke, is there support?
I'll support it.
Motion and support to remove it from the table.
Or the-
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. In your packet is an offer from Kendricks and Bordeaux out of Marquette to assume responsibility of township's legal counsel. There's an hourly rate as part of it and a retainer rate as part of it. Retainer rate, I believe, would purchase up to 2 hours of time monthly from them.
How does it stack up with what our current rates were?
Their rates per hour are higher than,
Yeah.
Mr. Davatella's rates were by a considerable amount. Their retainer rate offers a slightly better rate, but there are some questions around that that I think clarification. For example, purchasing 2 hours of monthly, not utilizing 2 hours monthly, does the additional time roll
I want
forward?
some rollover minutes.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So there are a few questions that I need to get clarified. There's also, on a blight ordinance in Tamarack City, a hearing that they would be willing to represent us, whether we approve this or not, coming up on the 24th, if we want to be represented in court.
Let me ask you something,
Please.
do we have a lot of other choices?
There aren't a lot of options locally that I'm aware of. There are some attorneys in the general area,
I mean, one of the nice things would be able to just go over there to his office, you know, and obviously this is that option. So,
Yeah, they're also looking, if you had a chance to peruse it at all, a mileage rate, et
I was
cetera.
gonna say, now, if you gotta pay to come up to Houghton County to go to court, you're gonna be starting to pay for travel time and all this other stuff, you know,
The
or,
federal rate, which is 58 cents a mile. There are some costs associated with it that need clarification.
Nick really left a hole here, I feel like, and I wonder if, after a while, we can just accept this now and then hope that somebody fills that hole eventually? I don't know. The problem is all he's gonna, this company's gonna have all our stuff, right? Or,
They would get it. Not sure that some files haven't already been forwarded in anticipation of, and I don't wanna speak for Nick, but, the way he was alerted to things that are affecting the township. They do represent one other township in Holton County, that's Stanton Township, had a lengthy conversation with the supervisor there, and he spoke very favorably. All their questions got answered, all their issues were quite professional, but did not disagree with my comment that they were a little more expensive than our immediate past legal counsel.
How long of a contract do they want?
1 year, if it's a retainer, month to month, or I think would be an arrangement, but, I think there are still a few questions that clarification. We could approve it pending resolution of the questions, we could approve it outright and get the questions answered and make a decision in June. Board's preference.
I think they're legit questions, you need to ask them. Are we,
it's pretty tough to go without
leaving
legal
ourselves
counsel.
unprotected for another month?
They are willing to represent us on an hourly basis as well, and I'm drawing that from my conversation with Pat. We could set aside a few dollars for an hourly rate to get us through May and then make a decision in June. They appear to be quite flexible.
Did we find out if we can do like teleconferencing with them or Zoom?
They did indicate that that was possible, and they did indicate that that might be the way they would proceed to represent us at the hearing on the 24th.
Okay. So that would save us some money.
Yeah, they would teleconference it. The one thing that I wasn't used to, but it's standard practice, they bill in minutes if you're on an hourly contract, so.
Oof. Goody.
Better talk fast.
This sounds like so much fun.
Well, I know some that do it by the minute, so.
I think UP Engineering does it by the 10th of an hour.
That would be, yeah, that's.
Yeah,
That's what we do it on.
yeah.
I'm receptive to whatever the board would like to do. As I said, I believe they will represent us without an agreement in place, so we see clarification on the question, should we want them.
I think we got a lot of legal stuff coming up here, especially with the projects getting going here. That I don't see a lot of other choices either. I've kind of bumped around on this already. My opinion is to just go with them. You guys can come, so, if you guys can weigh in.
We discussed this and I don't think there's anybody locally that has been, you're it's like half a dozen in one, six in the other. You're either paying doesn't township stuff to learn the stuff, so you're paying extra money for them to get caught up on what they need to do, or you pay more for somebody who already knows it.
I mean,
You know what I
I'd be willing to, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. I mean, so I'd be willing to go down for a year on this, and then if somebody comes along and fills the hole that Nick left, we can entertain, we should keep our eye out, I guess is what I'm saying, you know.
Perfect sense.
There's no out.
I don't know if I wanna just keep revisiting this over and over again. I think we're gonna need to get
There's
on.
no out of this in a year. We're tied for that year, there's no out.
Well, I think if we're going hourly rate, that's for itself. If we're going retainer, I think clarification on whether unused time rolls forward.
You can ask that question. Nice thing about retainer is if you got them on retainer, they won't take a case against you, and they won't, and they're there for you if you need them.
Yep, exactly.
You know, I mean, if you got them on retainer and you say, hey, we got a problem here, they're not gonna say, oh, I can't take that right now, you know?
May I suggest one other alternative? 2 hours a month equals 24 hours. That we use the 2 hours as a guide, because just as you implied, Aaron, there's gonna be clarification on some of the contracts and issues that we're speculating, and we would not want to go past our 2 hours in a month and then get an hourly rate higher for
So, is it in here somewhere? What do we have budgeted for the year on,
This is comparable to our budget amount, it's a little over 5,000, is it not?
I thought it was closer to 6, but.
Yeah, a little over 5, and this would not come to quite that much. It's under
So
our
this
budget.
is 5,000.
so it's within our budget, as long as we don't do some major extra stuff.
That's a big plus if it's under there. I mean, that's,
And I would entertain a motion, given the discussion, to accept their offer on our retainer.
can
They
we
can-
make,
I
can
feel
we
like-
make it a little flexible and do that, but if some of your questions before we go ahead and say yes, you ask those questions, and if you don't like the responses,
I can ask the questions as early as this week.
that's what I mean.
I'm good with, if you like, if you're not put out by the answers that they give you,
Right,
then,
then go with it.
then go with it.
You don't need another month.
I'm not making it even conditional that they have to roll over minutes. I'm just saying that if you got a not so fuzzy feeling, then bail
Bring
out.
it back.
Bail
Well,
out,
they
yeah.
certainly left a favorable impression in our conversations, and Mark Anderson, who I spoke very highly of them.
Sure.
And,
So the motion is pending.
yeah, just need to get
Go
some
to the
questions
questions.
answered.
5275 is what we have budgeted, so that falls within.
I'm gonna second that motion, so.
So there's a motion to accept them on retainer and support for the motion.
I just,
Who
I don't wanna
made
talk
it,
about
Don?
this every
Don
night.
made it, Aaron supported, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Mr. Wareham and Mr. Jenkins.
One of those things.
I don't feel like we're gonna get away with the next 6 months without having to have some legal time here, so I just don't see that happening. I feel like we're gonna use our hours, I guess.
So an effective start date of Monday, which would be the 18th, run through the balance of the fiscal.
This guy also, they also came recommended from Nick.
Nick is the one that alerted me to them and talked with them. They contacted me, asked if they could make an offer. Okay. So,
Okay.
any additional questions, comments, concerns about the motion to accept the offer on retainer? Hearing on roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
yes, Mr. Hopperwell.
Yes. Thank you. G, finalized FY 20.
There it is again.
20, budget. And what I wrote down based on conversation and even prior to it, still being done.
All right.
So the hope is to have all of this done by our June 10th meeting in
Okay.
Tamarack City.
Okay.
My apologies for
There
that.
are, in the packet though, Tracy did do, the general fund and the Osceola water with her proposed changes, which corrects everything
I didn't
that
see
we had
that.
discussed.
I was
It's
looking
2
for it.
pages and it's kind of tucked in the back.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Look at the top, it's April 2019, March 2020, and it's just two single pages.
Oh, boy.
And it is complete, I mean,
Okay.
she's got it all.
Yeah, just a footnote, she did present one for Tamarack City
You have
that
it?
we reviewed at our last meeting, if I recall correctly, Don, but it was incomplete.
Okay.
You and I talked about bringing revenues up to speed and what have you,
Right,
and
right.
having those for,
And then
For June.
in addition to that, the top doesn't equal the bottom,
Yeah.
so it's not complete in that respect.
that's why I'm suggesting that what you have are updated versions of what work has been done, but there's still a little more work.
So we're
to be
not
done.
there yet.
We're not quite there yet, but we
I
will be
see
there
it,
by
I
June.
have it, and, but we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
The audit is gonna start by month end, I would imagine she'll be here by month end, so we need to have everything by the time she.
Yeah.
And her hydrant number's still.
Yeah, that's part of the tweaking we still need to do.
All right, for Osceola?
Well, for Tamarack, because they still include the Calumet hydrant,
It's the township budget.
yeah.
Oh, the current year.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me
If
make
you just ignore it long enough, you'll
It'll
forget.
go, oh, I won't. Chief
Trust
reminds
us,
me
it
every
won't,
month.
it comes up, but it's our expectation to have these finalized to begin the audit and then have them in draft for the auditors and final versions for your approval in June. Item H, wastewater emergency response plan, I'm asking you to go all the way back to last fall. Mr. Sira and others, I believe, Mr. Kiernan were here and presented an emergency response plan.
I thought we approved that thing.
I'm trying to recall, we either approved it conditionally or did not approve it because there were a couple of things that I had intended to add. And I dug around and found it, and the only thing, as it turned out, I was adding were some updated phone numbers, but it did not change the text of the plan.
I don't think that mattered. I thought that was allowed to be done. I'm pretty sure if you go back and
We can't
find it in the minutes or what?
Well,
I couldn't find it, I didn't look.
I'm positive we voted that in. He came right in and he did it, and he said, I recommend that we get this done, and we did it, you know? I don't know what day that was, though.
may I suggest that, given that, can we affirm our approval with another motion to get into a new fiscal year? And that way, if we cannot locate in the minutes or did not accurately record it, we do have a motion to approve the emergency response plan for the Mason Sewer Project.
Okay. Motion to,
Again, approve the wastewater emergency.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out, I guess again, approve sounds fine, yeah, that's it. For an updated fiscal year or something like that.
Fiscal 2021. And is there support for Mr. Jenke's motion?
I'll support it.
Support. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the wastewater emergency response plan for the project for 2021, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you. New business.
Well, one other thing in our own business. So I have to start replacing services 5 a year. So my question was, can we supply the ditch going into the house and then require the homeowner to fill up the ditch and topsoil and whatever? So all we're required to do is to put the water line into the house.
It's all in Dollar Bay, right?
You were talking about that a little bit.
I think most of that situation's in Dollar Bay, is it not?
I think there's 100 some services that you had,
There's 105, I think, my count.
105 services that need to be done.
And he had so many a year, and it's gonna cost so much money a year, and I forgot all the numbers already, but
We have to
25,000 a
do
year.
5 a year and.
Right.
For most of the past
Obligation.
3 or 4 years, we've been doing, somewhere in that neighborhood, if not more. When we had the highway project, we did more that year, you know? But, yeah.
Did we budget that? Part of
Yeah,
it,
we
budgeted that,
raised,
didn't we? We even raised it.
yeah, but we probably at the point where right now, we're gonna have to raise it again in order to,
It ain't enough, I can tell you that.
we're probably gonna have to bump to 35 eventually here.
It's hard to keep open when we're gonna be cut.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I know,
Our budget right now for last year was, I still don't even know where it's at. It was scary, not good.
For a new lawyer.
It was scary, not good. A $2 raise wouldn't surprise me. If you really wanted to get technical about it, we probably should sit down and actually calculate out what the raise should be. Instead of just doing it off the top of our head, but.
Bob, can you wait till the 10th of June? For an answer? An agenda item then for the 10th of June meeting. That just amplifies the point, all the budget's gone up so much. Anything else, Bob?
Hard to really go anywhere without that.
I mean,
I know
the
that
problem is half
the
the stuff has to be done, so what do you do?
the DV water budget you have to raise rates to cover the cost. And I know that our budget last year was, I think it was short, so it's not really close.
Yeah, I beat up with pretty good last year.
There may be a fund balance, defended balance.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's why
calling
I'm,
for raise
and it just depends on what we have to do this year. I know you're we got a, like you said, you got a broken hydrant out there on the corner over there, and, we're talking about putting in another water line, and, you know, some of that meeting came up with that pavement thing, but, you know, we're, just, there's more than services to do, is what I'm saying.
One of the main items over there is on, that water line that's on, First Street over there, it's a 2-inch line. And it's nothing but a headache every time I deal with that. In order to isolate that leak that we had to the stone farm, I had to shut off 6 valves. And if you have to do that in the winter time, it's really ugly. Really ugly.
Especially two of them, but because I make snowbanks.
One of these days here, I'd like to see I need to grab a copy of the water map, and I'm gonna scan it and take a better look at it, and then maybe sit down with you a little bit on some of this stuff.
Is
But that's
that
another-
Bob speaking? Could he speak up, please? It's hard to hear. I don't know if the microphone goes to that area of his room. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bob, anything else on the service line access and moving the issue to the June 10th meeting to look at the financing of making a decision on who pays for the, covering of the service line? Okay. Making sure we capture it accurately for the agenda. Anything else, Bob? Thank you. Through unfinished business, new business. There is information in your packet from Brookla and Negro about an engagement letter, and then the necessary documentation approval relative to the audit they're going to be performing for us, water system supply for Tamarack and water supply for the bond for Tamarack. Should be in your packet. We need a motion to approve that engagement letter, and then you have the details.
Those monies are already designated in the budget, are they not, in the water budget?
I think they're just looking for updated information here,
Right, yeah.
and then they're saying that we need to sign this letter,
Sign the letter and the engagement.
and then just fill in some blanks.
This is just so that they can reach out to those entities to get the
Correct.
information they need for access to the audit.
Okay.
Is there formal board action required that?
No, I've
I
already.
apologize,
sent letters
I had
to
noted
the
as an
already.
action item on mine, thinking that we needed to approve this. I will simply sign these and take care of
Okay.
them. Thank you. B, under new business, Karen Ham has a request in for graduation banners at the ballpark. And in addition to that, you have in your packet a request from, Mrs. Norland relative to using parking area at the ballpark for a graduation drive-by ceremony. One has to do with, flags or banners. They were hopeful of stringing them somewhere up in town where they would be visible. They approached the power company, but found that that was not feasible. So they're asking, or Karen is, if they could hang the 2x4 flags on the backstop at the ball field.
With zip ties.
Pardon?
With zip ties, of course.
With zip ties. Yep. And then, remove them at the appropriate time, and I believe they would then go to graduate. In addition, there's a request that came in, just a short time ago to have a graduation ceremony that would be, a drive-through ceremony. They would use the parking area and the barbecue pit. They would, some type of stage area that the individual graduates would get out of their automobile, as I understand it, walk across the stage, get their diploma, go back to the car. Part of that request also includes parking on the ball field, which raises a different question. But the parking area, the parking lot, and what would be, I guess, the side of the ball field along with the barbecue pit, That dirt pile has been leveled and there's quite a bit of room in there for parking as well.
Not sure that ball field is designed, and that entrance is designed to have a bunch of people go in and out of there, like it's a drive-through. I don't feel like that's set up to be able to do that.
Parking lot's not a problem, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. As much as I have a son that's graduating and he's in this and valedictorian, he's not gonna be able to do his speech and whatever else, you know, so.
Well, they're hopeful, I guess part of that is.
I don't know what's gonna happen here, but I hate to rain on their parade. I don't think the ball field is the place to drive around on, I guess.
Are they driving around, or are you just going in and?
And
Well, I think because of the COVID-19 restrictions, there's overflow from the parking area, they were wondering if they could park on the ball field itself.
It says park on the ball field itself.
I guess,
Many kids.
why can't you park in the parking lot, and if they wanna park a block away, walk, and just don't get close to
it's not a
anybody?
big class.
Apparently, they're getting requests from all over the place to participate, other family members and whatever. My thought was consistent with what the comments are. The ball field is, and if there's a heavy rain, let's say a day or two before the event, that field could be soft and could end up getting flooded, in that circumstance. The parking area is designed for vehicles to park in. So my thought was, if I may offer an opinion, that the banners are a wonderful idea, and having a graduation.
They can hang them off the backstop, or they can put them on that,
When they hang them from,
hang them from,
barbecue pit.
they can hang them on the barbecue pit. They can have, there's a big table out there
Yeah.
that we use for for one of our races.
The banners aren't,
No.
and if you just use the parking lot, anybody else that wants to do it, you get on the
I just
vehicle.
don't know how
walk
you
there.
get, I look at the logistics of bringing a vehicles in and out of there and all the motions that have to happen just to do one, much less
Well,
20.
People wanted a place to park, I'm sure Quincy's will park in there, and Banfield, they can park over there
Isn't there-
too, because
You don't think they can get in the parking lot by the ball field, these units?
Well, they could,
What do you mean?
it's overflow, I think, what they're concerned about.
Hey, but what I'm talking about is if you open up the gates
Right.
and you just start letting,
Oh, no.
a bunch of cars go in there, I don't understand, there's, you gotta go in, you park,
Yeah,
and
you gotta come out.
then you gotta come out, you gotta turn and around, and you're basically, and you got a one-way gate here, it just, it's not really designed for that kind of traffic, I don't know how that works without tearing things up.
You're talking the ball field itself, right?
I don't think they're talking the ball field, I think they wanna park on the ball field.
That's what they want, that's the suggestion. They
They
would
could
use
use
the parking
the parking
area
lot. Is
and
there
the
not a parking
overflow
lot
would go
there?
onto the ball field.
Or is there not?
Well, I was under the impression that they were trying to have their, like you said, they're gonna try to have their thing where people would just park in their cars and listen to
Great.
the radio.
But they can't do that, there's no parking lot big enough that they can park there and walk over there? That's what I'm confused.
They're all
What
staying in
they
their
would do
car.
would be a driveway, they would park their vehicles in the parking area, there would be a stage type thing up by the barbecue pit, there would be a graduation ceremony. If there are too many vehicles for the parking lot to accommodate, they wondered if they could park in the ball field.
No overflow.
My suggestion is
Maybe utilize local surrounding
areas, like
parking lots, the road,
like
whatever.
Quincy's, if they overflow, could park in there, bring lawn chairs and maintain social distancing.
They can park down here and walk, I mean, it's just, they'll
Maybe
find a way,
Maybe we could let them put Main Street as one way or something, and we could put angle parking down the road or something like that, and I don't know.
Or park on the roadway depending on how many attend.
Could we get the fire department to block off the road like you do for the street dance, just for that?
I'm
And they
sure
can
we could
park
do
there.
something along that line.
I mean,
close it down for a parade, for the fourth.
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't.
depending on what the restrictions are, I mean, there was a church in Houghton that tried to have, they did have a drive-up church service, but, I mean, they were pretty strict with people, like you're saying, get out and bring lawn chairs. I don't think they'd let them, they're gonna allow a gathering of this size, they're gonna say you have to stay in your car, you have to keep your windows up and, all that kind of stuff.
Can I ask for a motion to approve the banners in the parking lot for the graduation? Combined question.
Oh, good.
So Aaron, are you making the motion to approve?
I mean, they can use the ball field, they just can't park cars on it, I guess is. I'll make that motion.
The motion to, approve hanging the banners, backstop, and a motion to allow the school parking area and the barbecue for a drive-by or drive-up graduation ceremony, but not to permit parking on the ball field.
Correct.
I'll say
If you wanna,
Did you say it correctly?
if you want, yeah, if you want to, I'm sure we can talk to the fire department too, try to see if we can help out and
Okay.
I would
close
like
off
that.
close off the, maybe even go so far as to, I mean, it's closed anyways, partially anyway, so the tracks and the, you know, we could talk to Quincy's and, you know, there's things that could happen here, you know, close off
I'll
the road.
second
We will offer, I have a second for the motion.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on the motion, and I will include as a suggestion of the supervisor that we explore other options with them should the motion.
To increase the parking.
Parking. Any further comment, question? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item C, Pat Zimnick offer. In your packet, you have 3 offers from Mr. Zimnick to fill the 2 holes, one gaping and one, companion hole, by the, park area in the park property in Tamarack City. One is to dump pretty much what was in there before and wash out into Torch Lake with runoff. That's the low end. The middle one would aggregate, mine rock and whatever, and perhaps some kind of a liner. And then there's it was said to me on the phone, a solution that won't require any further activity, but it is a bit more expensive. That's the third option. But something has to be done. We've got, water system barrels down there, partitioning off the area right now.
I don't see us having the money for the third option.
I'm okay with 1 and 2,
I'm not with one at all.
3, you're not with 1?
No, that's.
I'm assuming he's gonna combine that, because you're not just gonna put mine rock.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yes, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, but number 1 is just dirt.
Yeah, I'm feeling like you have to do 2.
Two, right.
One alone is not good enough, you gotta do 2 also.
Right, number 1, he's not,
Right, so you.
number 2 is both of them, I think. He's gonna put filter cloth.
Oh, yeah, and fill with
Material-
materials outside, okay, so number 2, that's what we wanna do, is number 2. I don't know what this hourly rate price is, but that's
Well,
different.
that's on the number 3 job, and that's,
Number
Well,
3
asking
is,
for 3 options.
number 3 is overkill, it's
obviously,
permanent.
a concrete thing would, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's a big concrete wall, we filled it in last year, 2 years ago. And it got undermined.
But I feel like the mine rock and the filter cloth is a pretty good,
That's a pretty good option.
Do I have a motion to accept any one of the offers from Mr. Zimmer?
I'll make a motion to accept the offer number.
A motion to accept offer number 2, the mine rock option. Is there support for the motion?
Sure.
Mr. Janke. Any further discussion? Additions to the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, on the motion.
Mr. Zinke,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
oh, yes, and Mr. Hopewell.
Yes. Thank you. Next item, UP engineering resolution. I think we've taken care of all of that. There is item E, there's an offer from the road commission to chloride down on the dirt roads.
So what are we talking here, which road, which location?
I have a couple of calls, from the north end and the northwest portion of the township, particularly Okarinen Road.
So they actually have money in their road budget, do they not?
They have a ton, I mean, and they're never
We
gonna
haven't
use
used
it.
any.
It sounds like that's a no-brainer then.
So my thought was that there's 3 options. One would be to pay it entirely out of funds, depending on the cost. The other would be to partner with the residents. The third one would be to partner with the other townships to see if they're interested. Because the Okarinen Road has a portion that is in Calumet Township, some of it is also in Franklin Township.
I guess you're more than welcome to check with the adjacent townships to see if they wanna jump in, but do we get a better rate because of it?
We get a lesser rate than the individual homeowners would get, so.
But I mean, if we're doing multiple homes,
my assumption is that we would, put the oil or chloride down only on that portion that is in Osceola Township.
correct, but it's just gonna be like 50-foot swatches in front of each driveway, is all that's gonna be. Is that not what we're talking here?
I'm getting more detail from Kevin Hardy.
I think it's just an oil layer on the whole road.
That's not what I'm used to.
That's what I've seen.
When I used to live up on Forsman Road, it was like a 50-foot swatch in front of each driveway.
Would you like me to follow up with the
Yeah,
homeowners?
find out what
Because
they're
they were
talking
looking for any kind of.
That's what I
assistance
used
from
to
the
The
do.
old golf course road, they used to oil the whole road, and you didn't
Would
get
it,
that road.
would it be okay if I made a quick comment here?
township. Who's speaking, please?
My name is Steve Pelly. Mark, you and I spoke. I live on Oikarainen Road. Oikarainen is a unique road in that we're at the intersection of 3 townships. Calumet Township, Osceola Township, and Franklin Township. Franklin Township offers the road oiling for their portion of the road. For their residents that are on the road, I think they do approximately 100 foot right in front of each resident for Franklin Township.
Pretty good swatch.
The road, the portion of Oikarainen that goes through Calumet Township, and the road is split into Osceola Township, we would be talking about, I think it's 6 residences on Oikarainen that would be covered under Osceola Township. The resident cost would be $86 for a 12-foot by 100-foot section. I believe it's less if the township is able to secure that. So you're talking.
That road only 12 feet wide?
No, I'm saying if you used half of the road, because half of the road is in Osceola, and I believe the other half of the road is in Calumet.
Okay, I got what you're saying. Okay.
Thanks, Steve, for the clarification.
Longitudinal partly, I got it, I got you now. Okay.
I was wondering about 2 vehicles.
How is that gonna work? Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, continue.
So if it was approved for half of the road, which is in Osceola, in front of each of the residents that is in that section, I think we would be looking at under $500 in total cost. So just to kind of
hold on here. So let me just quickly get this straight here. We're talking 6 residents that are actually in our township, though, are we not?
That's correct. It might be 7, but it's 6 or 7.
So my take on that is, if the resident is in our township and he's paying taxes to our township, that I'm not even worried about the half the road thing.
No,
Because that resident is in our township.
yes.
So I'd be ecstatic if they want to jump in and join, but they're probably not collecting. There's a high possibility, unless you have property on both sides of the road, which some farmers do, some people do, you know. My immediate take would be, if we got 7 residences that are in our township, then we should cover those residences completely.
Oh, completely. We got the money in the millage.
They're already paying the money. They're paying for that, so they should get it.
I agree.
So,
And in answer to Steve's comment, we do get a better rate coming from the township than individual property owners.
so I mean, if we got 6 or 7, and hey, if you want to talk to the Jefferson Townships and they want to join in, that's more power, and maybe there's residences on their side that can get done too, but I think our residents should get done.
It carries their money a little farther than we
Yeah.
do something else.
That's why I want to talk to the township
Cover our
supervisors,
residents,
because
yeah.
if they partner with us, more of the road could
Yeah.
possibly be done. If
Yeah.
we're willing to cover the people that live in our township.
Typically,
Makes perfect
like
sense.
I'm saying though, it's usually 100-foot swaths right in front of their driveway, and I'm saying if we got 7, we should have 7. Regardless of what anybody else says.
Yeah, is that a motion, sir?
That's a motion, to do our 7, no matter what anybody else says.
Okay. Do I have support for Mr. Jenke's
I'll
motion?
second.
Crystal, Ms. Gardner, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenke?
Yes.
Mr. Wareham?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Hopewell?
Yes,
Thank you.
we'll look into it immediately. I told Kevin I'd call him back this week on the decision on the oiling. He needs to know by the end of the month. Thanks, Steve.
Yes, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
You're welcome. Item F, OPG's offer for a new copier. We have issues.
Our office is gonna be closed anyway, so I don't know why we need a copy machine. We don't have enough money to operate anymore. How much do they want? What's the offer?
Well, the little one is in black and white, pretty good copier, not a refurbished, is a little over $1,000. I'm assuming it comes with at least a 1-year warranty.
Those are pretty cheap prices.
Yeah, they are.
And it will meet our
For the
needs
copier
for
that I have at work, that's a drop in the bucket, so I don't know, are we sure this is gonna meet our needs? Are we good with this?
I have not looked into this at all.
Looking briefly at the specs, I think so. I don't wanna say there's a profound sense of urgency, but not too long ago, pieces fell out of the existing copier. So we're on borrowed time right now, and maintenance and upkeep of a copier that is probably more than a half a decade old. They begin to lose their capability. I don't know the number on the machine, but we have had some issues.
Are we concerned about having a company that can service us, or are we more concerned at getting a better price on a piece of?
What about Sands? Did you look at Sands?
That's who we went through.
That is awful.
They're
Oh,
OPG
that's them
now.
now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Well,
know.
I didn't realize they combined.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I think they purchased the company, did they
Oh.
not?
Mhm.
Okay.
Did
Why?
OPG purchase Sains or Sains purchased OPG?
Was,
So whatchamacallit, that used to work as a coach, work for Sains is not, or they still have Sains out there also?
I believe, the last time I was aware, they had all the same people,
Okay.
but
Steve still works for them.
That's what I was wondering. I was still seeing the red van the other day, I didn't know if it had a different paint job on it, but.
I think that's a valid question. We could probably find a slightly cheaper, significantly cheaper. Find it locally, we got service immediately.
I have no problem with getting the service, I can tell you that at my work,
Lifesaver.
having them available to bring you a temp copier sometimes if you have to, or whatever might be the case, it's invaluable sometimes.
So does one of these do more than the other? I'm not
The one's
a
color,
copier person.
I don't think we need color, do we? Oh,
I mean, can you print, and is there anybody here that has a color printer that prints in color?
these things are older than the hills.
Does it scan, it'll scan and everything for you, but it'll scan in color, right?
Yes.
It'll still scan in
It's
color,
like, yeah, it's photographic, I mean, it's.
yeah, so,
It just won't print in color. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know, our two biggest copiers are black and white at work.
It's very rare that we need color. Most of the time, if we need it in color, we've just sent it.
I think we should stick with that mode.
So you're telling me if you put a color copy on there, it's gonna copy in color?
No, it's
No,
gonna
it'll
scan in color.
Scan the.
So like if you were to scan to a
black
PDF,
and white.
it'll
And then you
still
can
come to a
attach it to
PDF
like
color.
an email or
But it's
something.
not gonna print it.
No, it'll print
Okay.
it black and white.
It's $300 difference, 200 and something dollars difference.
It's also faster, the less expensive one, because it's not, if I recall correctly, it prints
Mhm.
more copies per minute.
Quite a bit, almost double.
Yeah.
It looks to be a very functional, above basic printer that we get a lot of years out of.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we buy that one.
There's a motion from Mr. Worm that we buy the, printer not color.
Yes, the M2540 DW.
Thank you. Is there support for the motion? Support from Mr. Jenke. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenke?
Yes.
Mr. Wareham?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Hopewell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else come before the board this evening?
One question,
Please.
whatever happened with the street light up north?
Just tackle it.
I got asked.
The last time I checked, it's just about 4 weeks ago. It is still on and burning.
Okay, cool.
Attempts to reach the power company are successful relative to reaching. It is the follow-up and the action that has been not forthcoming since the fall of 19. But I continue my efforts. It's on my list. I make a call on average once a month down to the service department in Marquette right now.
Okay.
They promised to get back to me. I did not make a call in April for a number of reasons. But
Did
thank
you ever find out if, we're gonna get a reduced rate for our,
I'm asking that question too, and they're not getting back to me on
That
that one. The
LED.
LEDs in Tamarack City and elsewhere, there is a slight reduction from what we budgeted relative to the light bill. But it isn't, I think,
considering they're supposed to use 1/10 of the energy, so I'm wondering if, we're gonna see any, since we've been asking about LEDs since we shut these lights off, at least I have been. I'd like to see some, I don't know,
I
whatever.
will add it to my list again. I'll follow
Yeah.
up. I've done that once before. I'll do it again. We'll ask. Yeah, we have had complaints about the LEDs and people wanting them to be some way, shape, blocked, partially blocked, directed, and what have you. But again, they haven't gotten back to me on that one either, so. But in deference to the people I do speak to, they're very receptive. They listen. They tell me someone will get back in touch with me, and I thank them. And then I wait. Is there anyone with us that would like to take advantage of public comment at the end of the meeting before I call for a motion to adjourn?
Steve, this is Cindy Barth. Did you have a question about wanting the road dust application repeated because your feed cut out?
I'm sorry?
The road dust, the question was just gonna be whether or not I think you're asking what I'm thinking, the question was just whether or not there's gonna be a split between the townships or not, but we've determined that even without the split, we're gonna take care of our residents, and within the township. So, it's moot, I think.
Does
Thank
that help,
you.
Cindy? You're welcome.
I have something.
Please?
This is Kristen, and I was wondering if someone knows when the property tax amounts are going to be finalized for the summer taxes.
Summer taxes go out, first week of July, so I'll be starting to work on it once Laura, our assessor, updates. Outside of that, sometime in the month of June. I don't have an exact date yet.
But you have to do some calculations yet to get the amounts, is that correct?
I don't even have the current 2020 data in my computer, but yes, I have to go through the process to have the bills calculated. I haven't even begun it yet.
Okay, just checking in for a status. Thank you.
Sure.
You're welcome. Does anybody have anything else? Thank you very much for participating with our meeting.
Andy, did you find anything out by any chance? I hate for you to click off on this thing without having, without knowing that answer.
What's the question?
Whether or not you can figure out how to get this thing to save its video.
Oh yeah, I think I got access for Christine to record her video. And on
Okay.
my screen it shows that it's recording as well, and I believe it's recording on the cloud. I think there is a way for me to access that recording. I haven't done it before, but if need be, I can try to access this recording.
All right.
And that sounds right. I was able to, it says recording on mine. And then Andrew, you should have access to the recording that would be then available to the township, or you would be able to make available to the township.
So yeah, just let me know if you would like this recording. I can try to get it for you.
If you can provide a link to it or something like that to somebody here in the office, that'd probably be a good start.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Andy.
Thank you for setting this up for us, Andy.
Very much
you're welcome.
appreciated. Krista will receive the link up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already
Yeah,
put
send
back
it
in
to
our
me
deck.
if you
Thanks.
figure out how to get it.
That's what I did.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think she filled out.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone, for participating. Is there anything else?
No.
If not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move.
Mr. Jenke, support.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Alright.
All right.
Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Thanks.
Thanks, people.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
good night.